Wanted to have some good news on my last day with the city and with GPD. And that good news is that the Uniform Crime Reports, the UCR, what comes out every year, generally around August, September, sometimes October, basically our crime numbers, we actually have those numbers immediately following the new year. And we typically don't put them out until after we've submitted them to the SBI, who then submit the numbers to the FBI. It's the same numbers. We shoot them up, and then at some point they report them. So that's just an opening to clarify any confusion on the part of citizens that might not understand where the numbers come from. But these are the official UCR numbers for the GPD for 2014. So I have a couple of areas that I want to highlight that are remarkable. One is our Part 1 violent crimes for 2014 as compared to 2013 are down by 13.7%. That's a huge decline in homicide, sexual assault, robbery, and aggravated assault. Our property Part 1 crimes overall are down by 4.6%. But our larceny themselves, the larceny category, is up this year, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Our best news, because public safety is crime, but it's also traffic and pedestrian safety. That's a key factor when you look at the overall health of a community. Our traffic crashes are down by 13%. So in reportable crashes, that's 10% reduction. I'm sorry, a 10% increase from 3,500 to 3,857, and that's policy related. But then the non-reportable crashes, it's a 61% decrease. And I will address that. I've addressed it through the year as to why these numbers are huge. And I'll talk a little bit about that in more detail. But the next slide will show our specific categories. And you can see that homicide down 42% from 7 to 4. Rape, sexual assault down 30%. Robbery down 17%. Aggravated assault down 10.2%. These are, obviously key factors in gauging a community's safety. So overall, 13.7% reduction. But also significant is the property crime reductions, where auto theft was down 12%, larceny was up 7.8%, and burglary. Burglary has been a historic problem in the city of Greenville, and through very deliberate initiatives that focused on micro hotspots, we were able to reduce it 31.3%. And also in conjunction with that is our cooperation with citizens and neighborhoods, the establishment of a civic liaison system where we have over 50 liaisons assigned to various communities, and they very quickly push out data, information to large listservs and large subsets of people that urge, actually they're public awareness, but they urge basically target hardening. Our SEPTED initiatives, all of that coming together is something that we're really proud of. So while the GPD itself had a lot to do with this number, the community should be very proud of itself, actually in all of the numbers. So overall, if you remember our strategic plan, our 3 years, 3% crime reductions for each year, and 10% accident reductions overall in the life. So we've exceeded both of those. We've almost doubled in 2014 our goal of 3%. Let me talk about homicide. This statistic went out last week, but this is our lowest homicide rate in the city in 20 years. In 20 years, 2014 is the lowest. And if you'll recall, going into November, actually late November, we had 2 homicides, which we don't even know how far back that would have gone. Potentially back to about the time where we started keeping records in the 60s, 70s. That's not an accident. That is due to very specific things. Our focused deterrence, our data-driven approaches to crime and traffic safety actually has assisted in this. Crime reduction initiative areas, these are the micro hotspots that we talk about, and our enhanced mapping. zone policing strategy, and increased community engagement. And this is a big one here, lowered community tolerance for homicide. It's not just the police doing this, it's the community coming out and not accepting these rates, not accepting the fact that homicide and shootings were simply the way that it was. The GPD was very deliberate in making a statement and saying that it is not the way that it is here. It's not normal to have all of these shootings. It's not normal to accept murder as just part of the way that the city is. And by doing that, we've shown that we've come to some record lows, and it's something that all of us, every single member of the GPD is very, very proud of. 7.8% increase in larceny, but overall property crime decreased an overall 4.6. So this is due to, as you can see, we have an increase in population. We're still in an economic downturn, and we have multiple what I'll call big box stores. Those big box stores contribute to our larceny numbers. And while it's part of community growth, it also does impact us in this particular category. I will say that one of the commanders actually several of the commanders that are in here today have been working with these big box stores and implemented a strategy in reduction of larceny that started about October. And since then, we've seen a sharp decrease. I suspect that this number will change in 2015 as compared to 2014 because of those actions. That remains to be seen, but overall, the trend is that it is going down. This is also staggering. We have never had a year on record since we started keeping statistics where we had 0 traffic crash fatalities and 0 pedestrian fatalities. This is the first year on record ever in the city of Greenville where it is double-digit zeros. And this is due to a lot of things. You know, we put out a lot of Twitter messages and Facebook messages, even to, you know, where we're going to be enforcing traffic. And some people might say, well, why do you do that if you're out there with radar and with LiDAR enforcing traffic? It's because we want voluntary compliance. And it seems as though we've gotten that. Yes, our tickets have increased because some people just don't get the message until it hits them in the wallet. But we have definitely seen decreased speeds on our roads. We still have some work to do. And all of that has been because of deliberate placement. Sergeant Mike Montaigne is here with us. He's in charge of our traffic unit. And our motor officers are out there. They're collecting crash data, and then they're deploying based on where these crashes are occurring. So it is not sort of you know, random. We are out into places, and it has worked. So that's the enforcement side. Then there's a huge, huge component. We've got Safe Communities here with us, the coalition today, of public awareness. And they're the ones that get the word out. They're the ones that get out and actually talk to teen drivers and talk to, you know, the elderly drivers and talk to everyone in between about appropriate ways to operate your vehicle and traffic safety tips. So all of that has worked. You know, while, you know, again, our crime rates are significant and very, very important, but as we build a city where you see all of this investment coming in, you know, we just had big news in the Uptown area. We're drawing lots of business here. That happens in healthy communities that have numbers like this and have low crime numbers. And that's been our goal throughout my administration. It will continue to be our goal after I leave. That concludes our press conference. It's short and sweet, and because I got to turn this uniform in by noon. That's a joke. But I do want to thank all of you for the you know, the very cordial relationships that we have had and our working relationships. I consider many of you friends, and I will miss you. I will miss our community, and I leave you with a world-class police department that is built and geared toward any challenge that it will face in the future.